This video is a joint production of the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies podcast and the Innkeeper's Table board game review blog. Hey everybody, Bill here from both the Innkeeper's Table and the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies. I'm joined by Jordan and Dylan. Dylan is a friend of both the podcast and the blog, and those of you who follow the podcast are already familiar with Jordan. So we have a very cool opportunity right now. I have been waiting for this for several months. We have finally gotten our copy of Brandon Sanderson's The Reckoners. This board game is enormous. If you can't tell, this is, I believe, the biggest game I now own. And I have been waiting to get my hands on it and to get into it. But we figured we'd share the unboxing experience with you. So thanks for joining us. Should we pop it open?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right, let's do this.
I'm excited to see what we've got in there.
And for those of you who aren't aware, Dylan is one of the people who got me into board games more than I had been before. He and I were roommates in college, and we would play games when we would invite friends over, and then he took off for a while and got really into the hobby.
Yeah, so Bill kind of introduced me when we were roommates, and then I sort of went off the deep end and pulled him with me.
Exactly. Because that's what friends do. Also, if you didn't notice, there was a green sticker on that plastic wrap, which means that this is, because the game was originally on Kickstarter, and the green sticker means this is the epic version, which is the highest Kickstarter version, so this is going to have all the nice fancy components inside.
I'm actually really excited to take a look at this because this is from a company called Nauvoo Games, and their first game, Stockpile, received very good reviews, first of all, for being a very good game, but also had really good quality components, so I'm looking forward to checking this one out.
I'm excited because I spent a couple summers in a city called Nauvoo, so
well, there
I think
you go.
that's just awesome. Anyway.
I'm excited because Reckoners.
All right.
Okay, so
Let's get started.
got the lid over
Okay,
there.
so the first thing we've got on top of even the instruction manual is the barricade stickers. That's neat. Of course, the instruction manual teaching you how to play the game. Full graphics. Very cool.
Nice.
Okay, this is something that I've heard about. I'm really interested in. It's a manual. It's just called Untold Epics. So in the game, there's a lot of different epics that you have to fight. And this manual, or this book, basically has the stories of all the different epics that show up. So it tells you a little bit about them,
cool.
about their powers, and just, about all the different things they can do. So that is really cool.
That's cool that they put that in there.
It's very Brandon.
Okay. Oh wow, they're already assembled like this. I didn't expect that. So all of the trays are done by Game Trays, and it's really high quality stuff. I mean,
yeah. So Game Trays is a company that prints plastic molded inserts for board games to help organize the components in the boxes. A lot of games, unlike the Reckoners, don't come with this kind of a system, and so that you just sort of throw all the pieces in there. But Nauvoo Games, like I said, they like to do high-quality components, so they partnered with Game Trays to come up with this really nice, high-quality plastic molding. Makes the components very functional. They work very well with the other pieces and the dice and things like that. So
yeah. So this one right here, this is actually Steelheart's tray. There's a different tray that you'll have for different epics that you're fighting, and so this is the one where you're fighting Steelheart. He has these different tracks, and based on the dice rolls you have, you get resources that you can use to make it so he doesn't get as powerful abilities each turn. And so the purpose is to keep this slow, and then you have a place where you track his research and his damage as the course of the game goes on.
Now, we've been using terms like epics and the name Steelheart. Are we assuming that people who watch this video are familiar with the source material?
We could give a brief overview if you wanted to.
Sure.
Do you want to talk about that, Jordan?
Sure. So Brandon it's not a Cosmere book, but he has a trilogy of young adult novels called the Reckoner series. Starts with Steelheart, then Firefight, then Calamity. Mm-hmm. In it, basically the world is a post-apocalyptic world where people got superpowers, and all the people who got superpowers were evil. And they all have various kryptonite factors that you have to figure out, and it follows the story of the Reckoners, who are we mortals trying to figure out how to punish what are effectively gods.
Yeah. So in the game, the epics that you're fighting, each of them has a weakness, and one of the resources that you can get with the dice is research. And if you get enough research and apply it to that epic, suddenly they lose a lot of hit points and become a lot easier to kill. Some of them you can't kill until you've actually done all the research. They're what's called high epics in the books. They have a prime invincibility, which basically means they're immortal for some reason, whether they're precognitive or whether they regenerate, or basically they have some ability that keeps them from dying.
Okay.
And so, all right. Now this tray right here, this is the Reckoner's resource tray. This is where the Reckoners actually track their different. Oh, actually, I've got it upside down. So there, much better. So this is where they track. These are they'll put cards for different gear that they can purchase over the course of it. This is the base. As Steelheart progresses, he'll look and try and discover the Reckoner's bases, and then if he does discover a base, then he steals one of the player's dice that they're not able to use until they purchase it back later on during a different phase. So this one, let's see. These are all the different the locations. So we've got Millennium Park, we've got the power plant, and all of this takes place in a city called New Chicago, which is essentially what happens to Chicago after it's taken over by the epics. And so there are certain things that you may recognize, different locations. So this is Navy Pier, Millennium Park, of course.
The Magnificent Mile. Sorry.
So there's all these different places. The Loop, which of course is a particular area of Chicago. And then the New Chicago Theater. Okay, so I like how it's got this shaped tray inside.
This is really nice for organizing the pieces.
And based on how many players you've got in the game, you'll use a different number of these locations. I think there's the number of players you have plus one. You have that many locations.
Cool.
So, and then of course these are the different tracks that you put on. You put these on Steelhearts. Let's see, where's the Steelheart one?
This one? Or?
That's this one. So yeah, you put these over here, and depending on how many players you have and what difficulty you want to set it at, you have these different pieces that you can flip over to fit whatever your current situation is. So, and then of course these are the player trays. So when the players roll their dice, they put them in the trays down here, and then when they decide how they want to use the dice, they place those dice up in these trays up here. Now, there's only 6 slots, but that doesn't mean you can only use 6 dice. You just put any extras up here. It's just...
So do each character have different abilities?
Each character has one special thing that they can do. For example, Cody has a sniper token. So each of the Reckoners can only act on the area that they're located, but Cody has a sniper token that he can, at the beginning of his turn, put on any location. And basically, anything he does, he can do from either location.
Gotcha.
Prof here, Megan. I really like the artwork that they have on these, that they did for each of the characters.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that's interesting is, and you'll see in a minute, these poses that they're in the artwork, if you want to put that forward, they match the minis. So the minis are in the exact same poses.
Oh, that's cool. That is neat that they did that.
So it's a nice bit of consistency. And then, of course, there's Cody right there. And so many dice.
Okay, we got to figure out how we're going to show this on camera, because this is really cool. So let's see if we can get these all in the tray.
And then we'll just flip it up.
Comes with a great little dice tray here.
That is nice.
Yeah. Here, let's get some of these things out first.
Yeah, so we'll start here.
Okay, so this is what I was actually really excited about. And that is the minis. Let's see if I can get the...
Now these were only in the Epic version, right?
So in the original version, they have non-painted versions of these.
Oh, okay.
And
so let's see if we can get... I don't know if you can see that really well on the video.
And now we're never going to get it back where we want it, so
That's all right. But
so
yeah,
if you just take a close look, they've got different minis for each of them, and then is the Steelheart one in there as well?
there
No,
is
it's right there.
there is
Oh,
a Steelheart
oh.
one here that's painted.
That's right. But then with this Epic Edition that we got, there's a actual steel
Heart.
version of Steelheart, and that's
This is amazing resolution.
wow. I know you're really glad to see that. Set it down there and just let him be front and center for the
Zoom and enhance.
zoom and enhance, Jordan. Zoom and enhance.
Because that's a thing.
And then also, so these are the brackets that you place on the Epic trays, and you slide them over to determine or to show how many different abilities they can access.
Okay.
And in the upgraded version, these are actually made of metal. In the original, they were plastic. So there's those. We've also got the enforcement minis.
So it's a bag of red.
As the game goes on, basically enforcement enhances all the abilities and helps the other epics to charge up.
And then these are the barricades. We saw the stickers that are going to go on here eventually when we first opened the box. These look like they are colored bases to go on the minis to show which player is which mini.
Yep, just sort of fit with that.
And I don't know what these are. Do you know what these are, Bill?
Those are I think they're called.
Let me open
plan.
it.
They're the plan tokens. So on players' turns, that's one of the resources that the dice will come up with. Is these plan tokens, and if you get that, then you can use that as any face dice roll on your turn.
Do we know what that logo is?
These are
don't
nice.
know.
They're metal. They have a nice.
So that's another upgrade then.
They have a nice weight to them.
They're cardboard tokens in the base game.
Okay. Yeah.
So-
those are really nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
those are pretty cool.
Do we want to try and find a way to show this dice
Yeah,
holder?
let's get
'Cause this
these.
is pretty cool. And these dice are bigger than normal dice. It looks like.
Yeah, they seem to be a bit. Okay, and that's Cody's sniper token. So, okay, so let's see if
That went the way I thought it would.
that went exactly how I was hoping because.
That
Yeah.
is great.
So yeah, there's just a bunch of different dice, and the dice are different colors because based on the different colors, there are some resources that show up with a double side, so you have an opportunity to get more of those than you would on others. But there's just a bunch of different ones. Everybody starts off. So these clear ones are sort of the base ones that have no bonus, but they're you can use them for certain abilities. And then there's these different colored ones. The blue, you've got green, you've got purple. And they have different abilities that are highlighted so that you can get some more effectiveness out of those. And depending on your reckoner, so for example, David, I think gets more, I can't remember which ones he gets more of. I think it's more plan abilities or something like that. Because in the books,
Yep.
that's what he does, is he plans and he researches, so.
Yeah, I think Tia gets more research.
It might be more contain. I think this is containing epic. So that's how you close the brackets.
Okay.
And then, holy cow, those are nice.
Whoa, hold
Those
those
are
up there.
shiny.
So I didn't even know about these. So that a couple of them have these hologram
Here,
cards.
let's open this.
So
back
these
up.
are the different cards that represent the different epics, and it points out in the corners. It shows how much health they start off with, what you set their research at, and then
that-
there's also a value that shows once you've gotten their research all the way up, what their health drops down to.
Hey, Jordan,
and then
can you
there's-
pass me the cutter?
There's different rewards at the top, and then of course their track that shows their abilities that happen on each turn. So, and it comes with
Sleeves.
Sleeves.
That's nice.
That's really nice.
They've really put everything into this.
Well, I mean, it was expensive for the Epic Edition. You know that better than anyone. So,
Still, like,
And
just
then, of
that's
course-
a small detail that you did not have to do.
yep, no, I love it.
So
So,
here we've got kind of this hologram-looking card, which is pretty neat.
And I think that was actually one of the push goals.
Okay.
Is there were a few different ones that they wanted to put in. And then, of course, you have these tiny little cards, which represent the different abilities and pieces of equipment that each of the Reckoners can get. Now, each Reckoner, once you buy a piece of equipment, it goes to one Reckoner and it can't be traded back and forth between them. So, but you put these, and these go on the top of that resource tray that I was showing earlier. Now, then, of course, there's this. These are really, really cool. If you can get one of the epic trays out for me.
Just which one was that? These?
Yes, that would
Like
be
the
an epic
location tray?
Yes. Okay, so these are unpunched, and so it doesn't.
You want me to punch one while you're
Yeah, if
opening
you want to punch one, that would be great.
I'll put unpunched something.
Okay, so on the different boards, there are different stats that you're keeping track of. Just a few of them. So you need to keep track of the epic's health.
That punches
And
out.
I need one of the purple things. So you need to keep track of the epic's health and their research. So the health goes in like that, and the research goes in there. And as you research an epic, you move it down until it gets all the way clear. Now, the epics that have the prime invincibilities that we talked about, they start off with infinite health, and that just means you can't damage them until you clear the research. And,
mega damage.
and then once the research is cleared, you have a spot that you can put it in that's shaped like a what's it called? A magnifying glass? I know words.
Magnifying glass.
Magnifying glass, yes. Mega damage, magna damage. I don't know words. But, it's just, I love these trays because they've got just, a place for everything, and it just sort of locks in, and it fits, and it feels good. So, but yeah, is there anything else y'all can think of that we might want to highlight, or?
I mean, just the way that these things are set up, where they're modular,
Yeah.
really helps.
Mm-hmm. It makes it.
It's not quite Dice Forge, but it's getting there.
Yeah, they put in a lot of. Oh, there's more dice hiding in the corners,
Yeah.
all over the place.
Someone must have spilled them.
Hush you. But anyway,
Someone's
I'll
throwing
look at that a little bit later. But yeah, so that is when you open up the epic box for the Reckoners, that's what you get. The main differences between this version and the base version are the pre-painted minis, the metal components, and
These are sharp.
yes, they are. So don't throw them at children. And
Just teenagers, according to.
I don't know if the sleeves come, the metal plan tokens as well, and the metal brackets. So those are the main differences, but yeah, this is a big box. It's got a lot to it, and I've watched a few playthroughs of the game, and I'm really excited to get our own play in. So I think we should shut down the video and get to our play. So
Sounds good.
all right. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody, and as always, remember, there's always another secret.
And board game.
Thanks for watching this collaboration between the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies and the Innkeeper's Table. For more content about Brandon Sanderson's novels, particularly those set in the Cosmere universe, watch or listen to the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies podcast, with new episodes every other week. Episodes are available on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Live streams of episode recordings happen every other Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 p.m. Eastern at www.twitch.tv/innkeeperstable. For more board game reviews, head to www.innkeeperstable.com.